I'm just surprised.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Blockchain Chat. We're going to take a couple of minutes, get started here. We've got a great video podcast for you tonight where we're talking about Toyota and what they're doing. So get your beverage of choice and let's get ready. So yes, I see, let's see here. And Eric Guthrie, let me know if you still want to be promoted as well to a panelist. Just put it in the chat. So I know we talked about it. Hey Khadija, how you doing? Hi everybody.
Oh.
Okay, 1 second, Eric.
Okay.
We're gonna have Eric Square tonight.
Hey, Eric.
I'm here.
Hey, Talisha, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. We're gonna give people a couple of minutes. I'm going to prepare us on Facebook.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric. Yeah, we can see you straightening your shirt out there. We see you.
Eric squared. That's funny. Everybody say staying safe and washing their hands. And all right.
I've been washing my hands, yeah, but I've always, thank God, I've always been pretty good with that.
Yeah. Same here. I wouldn't say I'm OCD with that, but you know.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
it. Good.
Oh, it may be one of those nights with Facebook where it doesn't want to cooperate. Let's see.
How are you doing, Eric? Can't hear you. You're on mute.
Muted.
You're muted, sir.
Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Doing well, just transitioning from doing book signings and speeches to doing webinars and podcasts and et cetera. So I had a book signing at the Jamaican Embassy tomorrow, and that was heartbreakingly canceled, but they're going to reschedule me for sometime in the June-July timeframe. So
good. And
I was supposed to do book signings in Amsterdam, and that got canceled too.
Yeah, well, you know, better safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
Okay. We are not live on Facebook. We may have to forfeit this tonight. Yeah.
Forfeit Facebook or forfeit the entire meeting?
I don't know, just on Facebook.
Facebook, okay.
So yeah, you know how some things work in Chrome but not in Firefox, some things work in Firefox and not in Chrome. It keeps opening up Chrome for me, but I wanted to open up Firefox because it works there, but I can't figure out how. So
have you tried Brave?
I have tried Brave, but not for this. For this, I've always been able to just get it to open in Firefox, but it's not working. So we shall try going through Google to open Firefox. Let's see here. Let's see if that'll work. It's asking me if I want to download Firefox from Google.
No.
Yeah, that may be too much, my niece, tonight. It may be too much for me to try to do all of that and be here with everybody. So, alrighty then. Well, Let's get started then. You know, if it's Wednesday, it's Blockchain Day. Welcome to Blockchain Chat. I'm Cherie. Welcome to Black Blockchain Consultants. So here, our mission is to do 4 things. Number 1 is help people get blockchain jobs, if that's what you want to do. Or you could start blockchain-based businesses. You can invest in the blockchain, whether you're investing time or money in a project. And the 4th thing is you can hopefully grow some generational wealth through this $3.1 trillion industry that is forthcoming. So a couple of announcements. We always want to give a shout out to our members and their books. So this is Jackie Hayes, who wrote Blockchain Basics, the Teen Edition. These are excellent things to pick up while we are on COVID hiatus, especially for those of you who have kids in the house. That's a great read. We also have Rob Morton's book, No More the Last to Know. So proud of him. This is also talking about blockchain. These things are available on Amazon. We are doing our book club right now. The Real Business of Blockchain is going to get started again next month. And that is going to be April 27th. April 27th, 7 p.m. So excellent time for you to get your copy. You can get it on Amazon. Look at Eric Spence's face. He is so happy to talk about this book. He gets excited. And then the last thing, and we have the author here with us tonight, Eric Guthrie, member of BBC, wrote Blockchain or Die. He's going to talk a little bit more about what's happening with his book because he has a special offer for everyone who is here tonight. We still have our blockchain 50% off of blockchainstudies.tech. Those are our online courses, 50% off everything. We Shall Overcome is the promotion code. All one word, no spaces. We Shall Overcome. And we are also going to be sending out some special invitations. Some of you heard us talk about a special announcement that we were going to have on March 30th. We are still doing a soft launch kickoff for that. All we're going to say is it's something that is going to revolutionize, we believe, revolutionize the Black community in terms of Black business. And if that is the type of thing that you're interested in, everybody within BBC will be getting that soft invitation next week sometime, and we're super duper excited about that. So stay tuned for that if you are a BBC member. Were there any other announcements, guys, Talisha and Eric, that I had before we jump in?
Nope, that's it.
That was it.
Okay, so I'm going to have my illustrious panel introduce themselves. Eric Spence, why don't we start off with you?
Hey everyone, Eric Spence, President of Blockchain Consortium International. Proud member to be a part of this amazing team. And that's it. I'm also a music publisher, so I try to find the ways in which my current profession, as a music publisher and copyright ownership and processing royalty streams, how that all, really synergizes with blockchain technology. And yeah, that's it.
And he is the titan of tokenization,
Oh, yes.
trademarked officially. So if you want to know anything tokenization, Eric Spence is the only guy. He is our guy that you go to. Talisha?
Hello, everyone. I am Talisha Shine. I am the VP of Blockchain Consortium International. I am the resident tech person here, also an inside member. I am within the healthcare industry, so this is a very great topic for me to interject those two things together because, as you see, this is a very essential, I think that's going to be the word that we're going to use, essential working people, and blockchain is definitely a part of our future as well as our present.
Perfect. And Mr. Guthrie?
Good evening, everyone. I am Eric Guthrie. I wear many hats. I am the Director of Training for the Government Blockchain Association. I'm a partner in the Kojak Law Group, also an attorney, and we handle fintech and blockchain legal consulting. As Shri showed you, I'm the author of the book Blockchain or Die, which was released in October. It got to #2 bestseller on Amazon's list. So I was trying to get #1.
Oh my
And
goodness, I didn't even know that.
yeah,
Congratulations.
I was doing book signings in Atlanta at Morehouse and Spelman, and it gets shot to the roof. So but it just missed #1. I was so hurt. So I'll talk more about that later on. I'm working on a number of blockchain projects that I'll share later on with the group, because I'm hoping that there are going to be some synergies with what I'm doing in BBC going forward.
Okay, well, perfect. So I might have you actually start with that. Or actually, I'm going to start with something else if you guys don't mind, and that is the price of Bitcoin. So we have seen Bitcoin go up and down over the past, I can't believe BBC is 2 years old already, and we got started even before that. So we've seen the price shoot up to 20,000. It went back down as low as 3,000. And I just pulled it up now. It's $6,600. It took a bit of a dive during the, whatever this turbulent time is. I'm just, because we don't talk about crypto as much as we talk about just blockchain applications, but let's talk a little bit crypto tonight, just for like 10 minutes. What do you guys think of the Bitcoin price? Any other cryptocurrencies that you're looking at? Anything you guys are reading that the family should think about? And everybody in the chat, if there's something that you're reading, if there's a thought leader that you're following, let everybody know, because we're all here to learn and engage with each other. So I'm going to open it up.
Let me just say one person it's two people that I think are great people to follow right now within this discussion. One is Anthony Pompliano. I don't know if you've listened to any of Pomp's podcasts. You can go and you can look at his podcast. I think Pomp is a great, I think he's a great person in the space, because he brings in a lot of different thinkers, and he tries to view things from the macro level. As far as from the TA side, the technical analysis side, I do like someone, his name is Kevin Swinson. You can look at Kevin. I think he's made a lot of calls that have kind of played out, and also things that have changed. And he's been very open about and honest about, hey, I expected us to be here. I didn't see this black swan happening, and that sort of thing. For me, I'm still incredibly bullish on Bitcoin. I just am.
So what are you thinking in terms of a price? Like,
see, that's so hard.
What kind of highs do you think we're going to see?
The moon, Cherie. The moon.
A million, gazillion, trillion. Okay.
Listen, I feel that way. And here's my thing. When I'm looking at the things that are happening, with the Fed and them now saying unlimited quantitative easing,
Yes. We should talk about that as well for a second. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now, listen, I'm going to say a really controversial point about that too. And I'm just going to say this. Okay, let me just say this so to get this out. So the Fed says, now they're going to do unlimited quantitative easing. So they're just going to be able to print money, infinitum. Okay, now here's my question about this. Now listen, if anybody's watching this, don't tell me what that guy, Eric, said. Don't blame me on this, but I'm just raising this question up. Okay, so if the Fed, if they can just print money whenever they need it, why are we paying taxes for? To what? Like, wait a minute.
Because they still need a way to screw the middle person or the low people, I mean.
Yeah, like if you need the money, well, just print it up. I thought you said, I thought I was paying it in because you needed it to pay for these services.
No, they don't.
You don't need it for that.
Well, you know what? Here's what I say. So this is a Black Power thing. If they're printing money, then print up our reparations money.
Yes.
I thought the problem was we didn't have money for your, great grandfather and grandmother's concerns, but apparently we do. So maybe we need to go, hey, print up our $4 trillion for our reparations.
Yeah, just go type that number in and bam, there it is.
No. So I will say this. One of the things that we have seen over time in this country is people kicking the can down.
True.
We call it down the hill or down
On the road,
whatever.
yeah.
Down the road, kicking the can down the road. We are always in this country, unfortunately, we are always putting Band-Aids onto gushing wounds. And I don't think it's going to necessarily happen in our lifetimes, but maybe in our kids' lifetimes or grandkids' lifetimes. Eventually, the bubble is going to burst, you know, eventually. And I think the best thing that we can teach our kids and grandkids to do is figure out how to have enough individually or like in a community or family wise where they can make it. Because we don't even know what to tell them right now in terms of how they're going to make it. But get enough cash flowing assets or whatever it is that they need to do to make it, because the haves and the have-nots gap is widening so much that it's going to be extremely difficult for people to catch up.
Let me make two comments, one historical and one futuristic.
Sure.
Historically, we've seen countries that have done this wind up with economic disaster. And look at Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe was printing money so fast, they got to a $10 million bill. $10 million on one bill.
Yeah.
Now you can find it online for $5, but I mean, it was a country that was doomed for disaster. And look at Argentina. Argentina had a similar problem as well, with inflation going so high. People were, you know, not able to spend money fast enough because they couldn't earn it fast enough to spend it. And the prices are going through the roof. But then what happened was, along came Bitcoin. And soon Bitcoin became a more preferred currency in Argentina than their own dollar. And I mean, I hope this doesn't come to this in the US, but if it does, this is even a better case to own cryptos, to own Bitcoin, and use that as a hedge against the fiat currency that's being followed by bad economic policy.
You know, that's a great point. And Talisha, I'll let you chime in here, because we do need to, I guess it was divine that God kind of had me think about Bitcoin and put the price into my phone, because, you know, looking at alternative investments may be the key. What do you think, Talisha?
I think, again, we're having this discussion at a really critical time, specifically with the stimulus bill, talking about a digital, you know, currency. And again, I think the conversation went all over the place, and having to bring back to the whole thing, like, this is where semantics mean something, digital asset versus cryptocurrency. Again, the government is not a decentralized institution. So it's never going to be a cryptocurrency. Just on that fact, you're never going to get past that point. And as we go, what is going to be the leaning, where we have these institutional digital assets, but we also have this proliferation of other things. So we're going to have the Bitcoins and the altcoins. They're going to rise, because we need something of stability for our own selves. And I think this is where the community comes in, and society as a whole, like, they want something that they can't get somewhere else. This is why they'll go to those alternatives. So I definitely agree with both Erics. I think that the Bitcoin is going to be here for a while. It's going to be that kind of trust institution that we were looking for, or at least something to say, I'll peg this. This is what I'll stake my claim on. I don't know about this digital asset over here. Maybe my dollar is great today. Maybe it's not tomorrow. I don't know. And again, we'll see that movement, and the building of wealth will also have to kind of go with what is stable rather than what is known. So we are in a very strong shift of, like, what is going to happen, what we're used to, and what we are going to do are going to differ greatly very shortly.
Yeah. Well, the person that I follow isn't a crypto person, but I like him because he explains economics, like the quantitative easing and all of that, in very, very, very simple terms. He's on YouTube. His name is What Happened to Common Sense. Look up What Happened to Common Sense on YouTube. It's a Black guy. I think his name is Eli, but it's What Happened to Common Sense. And he has an hour and a half, like, lessons. Like, he really goes deep, and he really explains to us what's happening. What does quantitative easing mean? How is that going to affect, you know, us 10, 20 years down the road? Alternative things that we should be doing. I'm not telling you to follow everything that he's saying, just like Eric Spence, even though he mentioned a couple of people, we're not telling you to do everything. We're telling you do your own due diligence, but these are some people that are offering alternative points of view that will just make you smarter with understanding, everything that's happening. Alex in the comments section said, the taxes are used to pay back the loans that government gets from the Fed when the Fed prints money. And then Perez said, taxes are not by constitutional right or needed to be paid. They can't show a law in the books that states that taxes should be paid. I'm going to say Wesley Snipes and Lauryn Hill to that.
And Ron Isley too.
And Ron Isley, exactly. I don't know any white people that have gone to prison for tax evasion, but those are three we've just named. So,
yeah, 100%.
And if you want.
Yep. Full disclosure, pay your taxes. Nevertheless.
Because you did say in the chat, speak on it, Perez. So I just want to say,
No, you can go and complain, but you still pay your taxes. No, don't
still pay your taxes. Yes. Devlin is saying the United States can continue to print money as long as the dollar is the exchange of choice. The problem is China is currently developing a system to replace the system we are currently using. That is correct. I do think that the coronavirus is going to put a monkey wrench in China's plans. So China wanted to be the supplier of everything to everyone. And because of this coronavirus, people are looking at their supply chains, and now they are really going to start to diversify. I think that there are enough people at the top who feel like just having everything come from China from now on is just too risky. So the problem is they kind of got us by the neck because they have so much of our debt. But that's why I tell everybody on a micro level, get your families together and figure out a way to get some alternative investments. So
yes,
sir.
Talisha mentioned a point, and I hope everyone really heard that. There's a difference between the crypto assets and digital assets, and of course we've seen the federal government talk about especially for the stimulus payout to American citizens, potentially doing it digitally. The point about I think everyone understanding that, especially when we talk about Bitcoin, is Bitcoin is censorship resistant. Once you own it, unless someone has unless they have the private keys to your wallet, you own it, and they can't come and seize it. For this, most likely for this, very centralized. Probably all your payments will be tracked. At any moment, that they want to shut you down or stop it or whatever the case is, or just flat out do like how they did in Greece, just seize your money, just take it right out of your account, for whatever reason, they're going to be able to do that. So I just look at this and I hope everyone, I think our group is, and I mean everyone on this chat is pretty, up to speed on this, but educate your family members and your friends on just the way this is working, so they really understand the difference,
Right. Dr. Keisha is currently working with Daniel Addison on a crypto economics course. Hopefully she's been saying it should come out in April. So as soon as we have the date for that, we'll let everybody know, but we do encourage people when that comes out we will have hopefully Daniel come to the panel 1 week to talk about it.
Nice.
And that should also bring some discussion around this. But all I can say right now is keep your eyes open, keep your eyes wide open. So we do have, we have 24 people here tonight. All right. So just a couple of, Daniel's saying he's writing an ebook now for the crypto economic security. So thanks. I can't even wait to see it. So looking forward to it. A couple of housekeeping rules. Number one is not housekeeping, just announcements. Blockchainstudies.tech, we've got the 50% off. You are able to put in the coupon code, We Shall Overcome, all one word, We Shall Overcome, and get 50% off of any course that we have. So it's great time now for your kids and you to learn various aspects of blockchain 101 course, healthcare, cybersecurity, six-figure consulting, all of that stuff is 50% off. We also have the blockchain membership. If anyone in here is not, sorry, the BBC membership, if anyone in here is not a BBC member, we put the bundle together now where you're able to do membership plus the Blockchain 101 course. We got that together. So that's blockchainstudies.tech as well. Another thing that we're working on, I'm speaking with the developers hopefully tomorrow to get a price and all of that. We're doing something called blockchain gigs, where we're going to start reaching out to blockchain platforms, getting them to enter information into a website about white papers they need written, documentation they need written, user testing they need done, things like that, how much they're willing to pay. And we're going to bundle those gigs on a daily basis and email them to BBC members. So we are working on various things to, various things to help our BBC members make side income and things like that. That should hopefully be coming, I hope, by the fourth quarter, if not before. But I want to let you know that that's something we're actively working on as well. We already own the domain name blockchaingigs.com. So yeah, so we're putting that into play as well for the community. Let's see here. Let's go over to Toyota, talk about what they're doing, and then we'll let Eric talk about some of the things that he's doing. Does that sound good?
Nice.
All right. And of course, I did not tonight pull up the Toyota. I'm sorry, guys. I'm like so unprepared tonight. I got to pull up the article.
A comment in there, Janet. We weren't talking that the government could come and seize it. We were making the distinction between the ownership aspects of a digital asset versus a crypto asset, where you own your private keys, whereas the digital assets you do not, and that can be manipulated by the centralized source.
Okay. So, this is about Toyota's blockchain lab. And one of the things that I've said previously is I think blockchain is going to go mainstream when people can see a real life scenario. So this is a very short article, but we'll be able to pull a lot of information from this because Toyota is doing several things with the blockchain all under one umbrella. So they have here from supply chain management to customer ID verification and tokenizing cars, Toyota's blockchain lab has been very busy. So in brief, Toyota reveals its blockchain enterprises. The firm plans to initiate the tokenization of ownership in cars. I'm super excited about that because I have an opinion on that. And Toyota's new smart city may use blockchain tech. And guys, I finally figured out the highlighter thing. So y'all see the purple. Oh, I'm like really working on my game now. Y'all gotta be patient with me, but I'm working on it.
You're doing fantastic. Fantastic.
Yes. So motor manufacturer Toyota has unveiled a variety of blockchain enterprises intended to digitize the automotive industry. The Toyota Blockchain Lab has already undergone several successful trials, one of which looks to tokenize vehicles and ownership rights on the blockchain. In April 2019, the firm founded the Toyota Blockchain Lab, an initiative tasked with integrating blockchain into Toyota's infrastructure. Today, the company has reiterated the goal, highlighting several enterprises in the works and collaborations to come. The firm calls attention to value digitization, which aims to enhance financing methods via the tokenization of assets, such as vehicles and ownership rights. And then they have something here where they talk about the uses of blockchain tech. They've got customers in terms of safety and security. They've got various things in terms of, this is the Internet of Things and everything talking to each other. And various services within the Toyota group, mobility, travel, things like that. So, oh yeah, this is as far as I've gotten with the highlighting. Sorry, guys. So Toyota's Blockchain Lab has been examining plans for promising applications for use in promoting demonstration trials while accumulating group knowledge. It's also engaging in global collaboration with group companies, including Toyota Research Institute. Toyota has also highlighted ID sharing and contract digitization with customers, as well as an overhaul of its supply chain, in which the company employs blockchain to record and share data on parts manufacturing and shipping. So, and then they also have a smart city here. So additionally, they have Toyota's Woven City project, a conceptual ecosystem powered by hydrogen and smart technology. Woven City aims to weave together a menagerie of intercommunicating smart technologies, including artificial intelligence, and now potentially blockchain. Building a complete city from the ground up, even on a small scale like this, is a unique opportunity to develop future technologies, including a digital operating system for a city's infrastructure. And then they say that down here, tell that to Akon. So shout out to Akon. Obviously, he's made enough of an impact that this general article, not about Africa or anything like that, he's penetrating that. So let's break this down into 3 parts. The first part is about the tokenization. So they have the tokenization of vehicles and of ownership rights. One of the things that's being proven is that young people are not buying cars. So the auto industry has been trying to figure out how it's going to survive in the next several decades. My opinion is that this tokenization is one of the ways that they're looking at in order to combat that. They're trying to figure out, because you only need so many Uber cars, you know, and with self-driving cars and things like that, that they say are coming, it's going to change everything. So I wanted to get people's thoughts and opinions on this right here in terms of what they're doing.
I'm gonna let Eric go because I know.
Well, no, I was going to say, like, I absolutely love this use case. I mean, this is just brilliant. This is just brilliant. This is exactly where we're going, to me, where we are going to end up. And Sheree, and you're right, with a lot of young people, yes, like many like don't want to own cars. They don't want to deal with the added expense of maintenance and all of the other things that come along with it. And yes, for so many with Uber, yeah, but for this, and I believe, you know, the end game for this is autonomous vehicles, and that Woven City is a fully autonomous kind of environment. It makes a lot of sense in so many ways, because you got to think, okay, for you know, if I wanted to have a vehicle, I could, you know, just on my phone, autonomous vehicle, just order it up and it come to me, and, you know, I know how much a transaction is going to be and that sort of thing. Yeah, but one thing that I do want to add into this that I think is really, to me, this is like, this industry doesn't even know they're going to be disrupted, but I'm telling you for sure they're going to be. And that is the car insurance industry.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have to look at it. And like, listen, right now, you know, there's very few cars on the road. And I think about this all the time when I'm traveling and I'm in, you know, LA, and there's times I've been, you know, gone for a month. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why am I paying Geico for, you know, for this? The car didn't even move.
We all are wondering why we're paying Geico. I mean,
yeah, but you know, the car sat in the driveway. It didn't move. Why did I pay you when I didn't really use it? And I believe that someone is going to come in and then they're going to completely disrupt it, because then it will be, and probably those vehicles could be completely retrofitted the same way which, you know, I don't care if you got a 57 Chevy, you know, you can go and get the Easy Pass device into it and it works just like it's like a brand new Lamborghini, you know, and does the same exact thing. But I believe that we're going to get to a point where those cars were, especially for, you know, for insurance, I will only be insured in these micro transactions that occur on the blockchain with IoT devices, only when I'm in the car. So only when I'm headed to the grocery store or on the freeway to go into the gym or going to pick someone up or anything like that. That's the only time in which I will be insured. And then after that, that's it. I don't need it any longer. But those sort of things, of those kind of microtransactions, and you know, and if you, Real Business of Blockchain, just doing a little plug, again, once again for it, it kind of talks about this. It kind of talks about those kind of microtransactions are only possible, you know, with blockchain. We have IoT, but blockchain becomes the glue that links them all together between, you know, me being the one participant on one side and the IoT, and then the IoTs themselves being able to communicate, you know, to each other. So I see where Toyota's headed. It's going to be really interesting to see who else begins to jump on the boat and begins to do this too. You know, it makes me think about—
That's a billion-dollar idea that was just dropped. So I hope somebody picks that up and runs with it, because yeah.
It's called safety insurance.
Say that, I'm sorry, say that louder, Talisha.
They're already in development called safety insurance. So you're only, you know, when you have the microtransactions, that's when it becomes dynamically instituted. So you're paying for it from again, your deductible and your reason, all this kind of stuff. But if something should happen to you when you're in these type of vehicles or in these type of spaces, you can pick how this is going to affect you, just like your regular plan right now. And safety insurance is coming. They're just trying to, again, find the value and where it can actually be dictated with, because again, they can't do it on individuals because they have their own insurance and the insurance companies take that first. But we're moving through this as a service, and this is where blockchain as a service kind of comes into, where these kind of transactions are truly what needs to happen. And then these are the smart contracts that kick off that say, if this has happened in this type of vehicle, in this type of space, at this time of day, this is what you get paid out.
Exactly.
We're moving to.
Yeah. So my niece is saying something, and I was actually writing something similar. So she's saying she's originally from Chicago. She could care less about owning a car because it's not a good investment. We will be able to taxi around ourselves in a car, and we will not need a car. And if I want to drive a Porsche, a Lamborghini, or a Rolls Royce, I will be able to do that based on my personality that day. And one of the things I thought about was, okay, they pointed out the difference between tokenizing the vehicle and tokenizing the ownership rights. So I said, well, what would that really mean? So I took it from, not everybody lives in the city. Not everybody is going to live in the city, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the person will still want to own a car. Or like my niece said, I might want to switch up once a month or something like that. So I wondered if there was a way to do partial ownership, like of a fleet of cars, and put those on the blockchain, and somebody can own a token based on the fleet of cars, and they could say, okay, well, this month I get to drive the Rambo, and this month I get to drive the Rolls Royce, and this month. So I see consumer habits changing based on tokenization, because you could be a fractional owner of this fleet of cars. I also see financing these cars becoming some sort of alternative investments. So we've been talking about, we just talked about it a few minutes ago. How can we get into, or who's getting into different alternative investments, whether it's silver or gold or things like that? Some of the most stable yet highest interest earning alternative investments is credit card debt and car debt, car loans and things like that. So being able to tokenize those things and people buying into them in exchange for making that an alternative investment is something else that is potential as well. So Eric Guthrie, I'll open it up to you.
Yeah, so thank you, Sheree. I'd be really curious to see what their blockchain business plan is, because it doesn't really solve the issue of millennials not buying cars. I mean, that's basically, cities are changing, people are moving into these mixed developments that are really close to where they work and close to where they eat, so a car is not as important. But, and I talk about this in my book, don't use the blockchain as a way to say, well, we're going to use it and maybe it'll solve this problem. well, identify the problem first and then figure out how it can solve it. So that way it can actually be useful, not something you're just throwing at something that is good for marketing or for articles on websites. But I think a lot of you made some really good points. Insurance is one option. The other option is, maybe someone comes in to buy a car and then rather than paying cash, you say, well, we can convert this into a blockchain for you and you can use it a different way. Maybe they become more of the company that shows them how to do it and makes them use it a different way, because financing wasn't always the way it is. It always changes. It's always updating. And when you go to a dealer shop, oftentimes you learn what the new way of finance is. So maybe they use it that way rather than just, putting it out there in a blanket statement. I mean, it's difficult to say until we see the business plan, but the fact that they're talking about this is really exciting. I mean, they were a Fortune 50 company, and 10 years ago they were on the brink, and now they're talking about using blockchain. So that's really exciting stuff.
So one of the things that I wanted to point out here could be another use of it. We know that data is the new gold that's forthcoming. Now, even though in this tweet that they talk about sharing data amongst multiple parties in a more open environment that is safe and secure. We know that Amazon is doing this, Google is doing it. I don't know, Eric Guthrie, if they're trying to solve the problem of young people buying cars. I think they've already relegated that to not going to happen. I think the question is what's going to be their business model to bring in the same amount of money in the future. So all of a sudden, if you've got this data of Johnny goes here to the gym in the morning, he goes here in the afternoon, he goes to work, he goes to see his girlfriend, and you're collecting all of this data. And I know Talisha's going to come and say, it's our data. But if we sign over rights to, if Toyota has all of these fleets of autonomous cars all over the place, and they're collecting that data, and they're able to sell that data because we've given up rights when we clicked on the button and said, yes, I want the Toyota car, therefore you're able to collect my data, because no one really reads that privacy stuff, at least right now, the privacy terms. Their new business model could be around data and around doing more Internet of Things stuff. So, because they're a manufacturing company at the end of the day, not just a car company. If we're thinking about how the Japanese think, there was a gentleman after World War II, Deming. Is it Jonathan Deming? No. I know the guy's last name is Deming. He's a super big, well-known manufacturing guy. And he went over, after World War II, he went over to Japan and he taught them how to be manufacturers. And at one point, Japan's manufacturing was the lowest in the world. And now look where they are. They are known as some of the most innovative people. So I think they're trying to innovate outside of what we're seeing them do today. If they're not, I'd be very surprised.
Well, they talk about that in this article, and if you go, there's several links in here that talk about that they're moving to a mobility strategy. That's what the goal is to truly be a mobile company. So that means for them, a whole host of different things, from how do you move, true supply, supply chain, people, the autonomous vehicles, even the building of the woven city. They have incorporated different aspects of that to test that. So it's not really about who's buying it, it's how they're using the mobility device within this certain environment. What is best, how does it operate more effectively and efficiently for both the consumer as well as the environment. So they're using, I think they're leveraging data, of course, but they're also trying to shift themselves into, just like I said, it's not about being a car manufacturer anymore. They're trying to truly hit that mobility space and be a leader in that thought process of how to build cities, how to be the infrastructure now. So they're trying to really dictate that, I think, more so than anything else. And I think that's where the woven city is a really strong part of this project.
Mm-hmm. Guthrie, you have anything else to say?
Well, that makes more sense. I mean, that I think has more of an appeal and more of a use case than just selling cars. I mean, it solves the problem, right? We need smart cities that are more energy efficient, that are cheaper to run, that can house more people in a way that there's less space, so it's more green for the environment. And clearly, blockchain can do that. And I think it goes well beyond what they're doing with selling cars. I mean, look, there's other companies that had one model at first that found out that this other industry or this other way they can do business would be more effective for them than the original one, and they evolved into that model. And this could be Toyota. I mean, this could be really exciting for them.
Absolutely. So, okay, so let's go to this paragraph here. Toyota also highlighted ID sharing and contract digitization for customers, as well as an overall overhaul of its supply chain, in which the company employs blockchain to record and share data on parts manufacturing and shipping. What do we think of this in regards to, they're saying a whole lot here. I'd like to dig in more and know exactly what they mean by ID sharing. I think I get what they mean by, you know, contract digitization. I'm not quite sure how that fits on the blockchain, except if it's just a regular smart contract. But I'm interested in hearing from anybody else if you all have any ideas about this specific paragraph.
Well, so from the smart contract perspective, I mean, if they have suppliers and they have contracts with them, they can easily just put it on their own blockchain, and that way the product can just ship automatically, just boom, boom, boom. Don't need to sign, don't need to update. I mean, you may need to update the technology, but it just creates a much more seamless, you know, effortless way for them to go back and forth with the supply chain and contracts. I mean, that's one of the best things about blockchain technology, is that you can use it to simplify your contracts, make it just like a digital vending machine. It goes in, it comes out, it goes in, it comes out, boom, said and done, no problem. And, you know, that will put a lot of lawyers out of business in Toyota space, but, you know, that's what they want to do. They want to make it more streamlined, make it more efficient, and make it more tech savvy. You know, in terms of the ID tags, I'm not sure what that means exactly. So I want to hear some more about that as well, because I mean, that could be something that could mean a number of different things. But I will say this, you know, if Toyota can take this technology and corner it first, they would have really succeeded in using this to make themselves the #1 auto manufacturer in the US, or if not the world.
Okay.
Well, the ID sharing is truly about the IoT devices. This is, again, where the Woven City comes in. I've been following this project for a long time. So what happens is, again, they're looking at the customer experience from beginning to end. And that's, again, an own supply chain within a customer. So if I were to buy something, that then I'll need something else to supply that ID is shared, so that it knows, okay, well, you have this quantity of this thing, and now you need something supplemental to go with it. And it keeps that track. So it's sharing the ID through all the IoT devices, and the AI says to you, okay, this is what's happening in your quantitative aspects. This is what you'll need further on, or now you can go get it because it's available here. When, you know, because again, they want to do the just-in-time. They were very astute about just-in-time manufacturing. They're doing the same thing with the idea of customer experience. I don't need it when I don't have the first product. I need it only when I get the second product. So they're now trying to show that the AI and the IoT all pulling that data and then keeping that on that blockchain, showing that and moving it around to give the best customer experience. And again, within that city where everything is going to be a just in time, they're not going to have a surplus. They're not going to be stockpiling anything like toilet paper. They're going to just use what they need and be done, and have, again, the economy of space and time is what they're looking for. And so the efficiency is what they're bringing to this, using all types of technology, just to also to include blockchain. Okay.
That is brilliant.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It's like they thought of it all, and they're sharing this data from a whole lot of resources. So they know they're not the experts. So they have pulled out all these people like, hey, you scientists from Belgium, come on, help us do this. So they're literally looking for collective. That's why the shout out to Akon, like, you know something, come on, because we're building this and we want to build it very astutely and effectively as we can, because this is our plan. They know where they want to go. They're trying every advantage to get this to work through this city.
And you know what's funny? This reminds me of, and less tech way of Hyundai. So, I mean, we know them as a car manufacturer, but when I went to South Korea, they do construction, they do technology, they do everything over there. And I was like, wow, I didn't know Hyundai was really that advanced over here as opposed to just a car dealership, you know, a car manufacturer over here in the US.
Yeah.
Now, if Toyota can become that globally like Hyundai has, then that's a really big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one of the, if you have kids, or if you want to study it yourself too, depending on what age you are, and if you choose to do this, data science is a really big field. And Talisha, you can let me know what's above data science, but being able to not only collect the data, but interpret it and then help companies make business decisions from it. You can, if you would please let everybody know.
Yeah, those are all the data science, data aggregates, that's all analytics. So any of the data specific sciences, and they can sometimes consider life sciences as well because they go back and forth. But those are truly where you're not only looking to just collect it and feel how it sits, it's truly how do you use that and use it in a dynamic format, because you have to understand what it is, how it was captured, what the benefit are, and then actually show the proof. There's a return on investment of that data, because again, it's a living thing. They want to make that investment. And if we capture this, what are we going to get from it? Mm-hmm. And those people do that all day long.
Yeah. So I know that there are a lot of free courses, a lot of low cost courses online, or you could go to Harvard to study it if you so choose to.
Right now they're all free, so get them now.
Yeah. Yeah. So nice.
They're free.
And anything that you can do. So what these companies are doing, and Amazon is a great example of this that we all see in our daily lives, is they're trying to maximize the amount of money that you spend with them every time you open up the cart, every time you go to the website. Toyota's doing the same thing. So as data scientists and, you know, business analysts, our jobs would be to take this data, to, you know, manage it in such a way that these companies are able to maximize revenue or reduce costs. Mm-hmm. And no matter what happens in the economy, let's say you've got a 12-year-old kid right now, if you could teach them those types of things, they should never, ever be out of a job. Doesn't matter if they're helping Toyota or Amazon or a small business down the street. They should be able to, this is why I always say, teach your kids how to read, write, count, and think. You know, this is the type of thinking that they will need to be able to do for the next 50 to 100 years. So they're talking here about Woven City, weaving together a menagerie of intercommunicating smart technologies. So we've talked about blockchain interoperability before. And for anybody who is new, it is the different chains, whether it's Ethereum or EOS or, you know, other chains being able to talk to each other. That is one of the biggest problems that's being solved right now. And once that happens, we should see a lot more adoption. That and the user experience. We should see a lot more adoption of blockchain. So people are thinking it's going to happen by 2023. So I think the city is interesting. I think it is an interesting, what do you call it? An interesting use case. But even more than the city being interesting, it's somebody living in the city and seeing different things happening, seeing their ability to tokenize and buy a partial share of a fleet of cars, or no longer having to pay every month for Geico. They could pay just for the days or the hours that they're using. When people start to see these use cases, I think they'll really begin to understand how blockchain is able to help them. But if we're able to actually make some of those use cases happen on whatever level we're on, that's where the riches are. That's where, and 3.1 trillion is like minimum. So I really want people to pick a major. I've been talking about that for 2 years. Find something, whether it's smart contracts, whether it's supply chain, healthcare, whatever it is, and go deep with it and make sure that everybody in that industry knows who you are. That is your greatest way to get jobs right now in the blockchain industry, or find interesting projects to work on. So, Eric Guthrie, I know that you had an announcement for everybody, so I am going to turn the floor over to you.
All right, thank you, Cherie.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few things happening right now in terms of with my organizations and myself that I want to announce to BBC for the first time. The first, like I mentioned before, I'm the director of training for the Government Blockchain Association. And we've been doing blockchain training courses and blockchain certification courses for a couple of years now. Talisha went through it with me in, about a year ago now, I think. So we had a great time. We had a great long days, but we had a lot of fun. Yeah. Back then, the course was only taught by a training provider, which was myself, my company, Better Me, Better We. In order to become a training provider, it costs $4,000 for the training provider membership and $1,000 to license to train the course. So it was $4,000, sorry, $3,000 for membership, $4,000, including $1,000 for the course. With Corona, with COVID-19, we're gonna see a huge drop in courses. So Gerard and I kind of had some meetings on how we can spur training, and we're gonna run an experiment for the next 60 days, starting April 1st, going to the end of May, to waive the $4,000 fee to become a GBA training provider. The only caveat is you have to sit through the course. So for the folks that sat through my course, they're grandfathered in, and if they want to become a training provider, then they should contact me at gbaglobal.org. Some of you have my personal cell phone, that's fine as well. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do that, then we can talk about getting you as a training provider within this 60-day window to see how it pans out. The only caveat is, other than taking the course, is you have to train at least one course a year. We don't want to put out the training provider license to you and not have you use it. We want to have you put GBA's name and your name and the knowledge that we give you out there into the public. So, and if you want to take the course to become a training provider, we can discuss that. I actually asked you to talk to Cherie as well, because she was the one that kind of coordinated this course in the first place. So I want to make sure we get BBC trained up as much as we can. So that's the first thing that I wanted to make sure that I give to all of you. I haven't even written the policy or the communication yet. I'm still writing it. You guys are getting it before I even put it out to the general public. So that's something that I want to make sure that I give to my fellow BBC success members going forward. The second is because of COVID-19 again as well, all my blockchain or die book signings have been canceled. So I am now selling Blockchain or Die online, the ebook, for 99 cents. I want to get the information out there, and if I can get it out there personally, I want to get it out there online. As I was saying before, when we first started the call, it got to number 2, and I want to do a hard push to get to number 1. So I've dropped the price from $9.99 to 99 cents. A lot of folks have bought multiple copies for themselves, their parents, their kids, their loved ones, their friends. So I think that's one of the reasons why it got to number 2, is because they didn't just buy 1, they bought 5, 10, 15. You could buy up to 15 on Amazon. So I will share the link for all of you, and you guys can just click on it and go and buy as many as you like. I would greatly appreciate it. And let me know how it is. You know, contact me, write a review, and let's talk some more about it. Also, Blockchain Die is getting 2 other copies. One of them is going to be in Spanish. Someone's writing it right now in Spanish. A brilliant young guy he's in Toronto, Canada, but he's from Venezuela, and he's writing it in Spanish. And I have a brilliant young guy in India making a India cultural version. What does that mean? Well, he's not writing it in Hindi because so many people in India speak English anyway, but we're writing it so that it is more relevant to their economy. I mean, the Canadian economy and English economy, I mean, the USA, they're kind of neck and neck in terms of, you know, companies and businesses and cross-border communication, but India is a whole different world. So he's writing entire chapters, like the SEC chapter, for example, from scratch, because what I put in my book does not impact them, but what he puts in his version of my book will. So I'm hoping those will come out in the next 60 to 90 days, and we'll see how that pans out. And finally, as you can see, I've been very busy. I'm working with another company that I'm gonna make sure they join BBC, a blockchain video game. It's gonna get built on a blockchain, and even though it's a video game, with my training expertise, I'm going to try and make it a learning experience for the adult learner, the person that's playing the game. I'm hope to make it such that it becomes interactive with wallets and with other ways you can earn cryptocurrency while you're playing, just like we do on Publish Ox. I don't know if you guys have heard about Publish Ox, but you could earn crypto by reading articles. And you can tip the author, and you can tip yourself after you finish reading an article. So that's how I make BAT and DAI and some of the other ones. I just read articles every now and then, do a tip, and I make, you know, a couple cents here and there. But I can surf the web and not make any money. Right. I can surf their web, read articles, and I can make money. So the same kind of principle is going to apply. But I bring that up is because when we get to the point where we've chosen our developer, when we're really close, we're going to need marketing people, and we're going to need maybe some folks to do some communications and maybe some finer technology work. So I may come to VBC to kind of put some job postings out there to see if anyone is interested in working with us in this technology. We're probably going to do a funding round, another blockchain game. Made $17 million in a funding round.
Whoa.
I see no reason why we can't do that as well.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we're all included in that. So those are some of the things that I'm working on. Okay. And again, if you want to reach out to me, feel free. You can find me on GBA at eric.guthrie, Guthrie @gbaglobal.org, or my personal email, eric.guthrie at Better Me, Better We, no spaces, no dashes, .com.
Okay, so I'm just putting your bettermebetterwe.com email address here in the chat. Definitely know that Naja wants to get in touch with you. She runs a great space in Los Angeles and a second one opening up in Chicago, so you two should definitely talk. Okay. So the first is in regards to the GBA training. Is GBA still, if somebody from a specific area, let's say Atlanta, a potential customer or client, well, Atlanta's probably not the best example, but Raleigh, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. If a corporate client from there contacts GBA, are you guys still connecting local trainers to that individual? I know that was something that you guys were offering at one point.
Yeah, so it depends. First, we run it through our leadership team to see if anyone can take it. If not, yes, we'll farm it out to a local or regional training provider and see if they're able to handle it or not. Surprisingly, a lot of these folks that are training providers don't do it full time. Mm-hmm. So they don't have the capacity to necessarily do it as much as we'd like, which is why we're trying to grow our capacity. Right. And we're using this as a way to see if we can grow capacity globally. And I'm going to be on some calls later on after I roll out the policy. You're the only persons that are getting this before it rolls out. I think I have calls in Europe and in Paris and in Puerto Rico. And, they're waiting to see how we're going to do this. Because one of the barriers, quite frankly, being a provider is that some folks either didn't have $4,000 to pay or didn't want to pay $4,000. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to eliminate that barrier for the time frame. It's kind of an experiment, see how it pans out and take it from there. But we will contact you if we have an option for you for training. The other thing we're trying to do is we're trying to do some more digital training. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm revamping the very same course that I gave to Alicia and everyone else in that course to be a more digital platform And especially in this day and time, we need to have more options for digital training, because for something can happen and we may not be able to get to a classroom. If I had courses lined up, I would have had to cancel them all. And if they had prepaid, we would have had to figure something else out. But, you know, with digital platform, it's going to go as long as we have electricity and Wi-Fi. So that's something we're working on as well.
Yeah. And then for Blockchain or Die, there's a lot of people in here, and some of you may be from different countries in Africa or the Caribbean. It's possible, I'm just going to throw Eric's name out here, since he's doing stuff in India and what was the other country?
I'm doing India. Well, India and a Spanish version. It's not a particular
Spanish
country,
version. Yes.
but it's a Spanish version.
So, but if there are people that are in specific countries like South Africa or places like that, you know, consider it, because you could be, you know, one of the best things, at least in my business for me, was writing a book, because you get a lot of speaking offers and a lot of opportunities to train people when you have written a book. So with Eric, you wouldn't have to start from scratch. And he is a member of BBC and a friend of the community. So, you know, put that out there. The final thing, Eric, is with the blockchain video game. This is where blockchain gigs comes in. This is why I've been pushing for it so much, and talking to the potential developer, saying this is what, you know, this is what we're trying to do. Because I foresee in the next 2 years where this is going to start becoming a lot more prevalent than it has been. And I want to make sure that we are set for it. So membership has its privileges, and a part of this is, you know, you will get these opportunities, and you can just pick and choose a couple of them that a year that you think are interesting. So we want to make sure that we're always growing and always providing additional benefits to the people that we're serving. So, okay, well, we had a great time tonight. I'm going to let Talisha and Eric Spence give some final words before I give a couple of final announcements. So Talisha, let's go with you.
I was going to talk about the last article that we talked about, more specifically the digital operating system. I think that's a really key component to what we're going to be talking about, probably, you know, as we go along, is that when we create infrastructures, sometimes we forget that there's other aspects to them, except the actual hardware. I think people just think of the outline and the framework, but we really need different people, and this kind of ties into where your major is. There are going to be people that are marketers, that are people who are going to need the specialties of business analysis and all of those things to make the operating system work and to function, because again, you can only have one component that, you know, somebody builds, but it has to be interoperative. And that's where we kind of come in, where we need to have all of those skills. So don't feel like, oh, I need to be a technician at all the times. You can utilize and leverage the skill set that you currently have, because the ecosystem truly needs all of these parts and pieces in order for it to be a true operating system. So that's what I would think, you know, when we go into some of these little things that we're doing at this point, try to just find something that interests you and that you can feel like you can contribute to that, and stay with that and see how that fits. Because again, you don't have to be the true everything to everybody. You can just do that one piece that you do very, very well. And again, you'll be called upon for just that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that too.
That's great advice.
Mr. Spence.
You know what, I'm listening to something that we kind of touched on in the very beginning, and that was just the macroeconomics at the time that we're living in now. I do believe that this is an inflection point in our lives, that what we're looking at that's happening currently will be incredibly important, where 10 years from now, we will remember what took place this year in 2020, like currently, like what's happening right now. And I'm going to say I do believe that cryptocurrency, Bitcoin especially, is going to be very, very important, very key to what happens. So everyone, just get as educated as possible. If you're in LA, please go by Naja's place. and get plugged in there. You know, like absolutely, like grab as much education as possible, especially so that you can then become a resource for you know, for other people around you, your friends, your family, those, so you can, you know, really begin to help them understand what's happening and how it could potentially affect their lives going forward.
And Nadja, BBC wants to come in 2021. So
Yes.
I'm overloaded right now, but I promise you, I'm calling you. Just give me a few more weeks to give you a call in regards to that. In the meantime, the business of blockchain, this is our book that we're reviewing. We're going to take several more months with it. We're doing a deep dive with it. And one of the things I used to say before, which I will start saying again as well, is skate to where the puck is going, right? That's Wayne Gretzky, that's not Cherie saying, but I'm speaking to a lot of people these days who, whenever I say, you know, XYZ is happening, this is an opportunity, I'm getting back, yeah, but people are scared. People are scared. People are scared. And these usually Black people that I'm speaking with, and Talisha, I'm not talking about the conversations we had earlier today. I really do mean like other people. I just want to caution people that not every Black person and not everybody is scared of what's happening right now. And the people that are going to do very well are the people that are looking at how COVID-19 is going to change the game, and they're skating to where the puck is going.
Mhm.
If I had $1 gazillion, I would be investing in everything right now. Everything, because everything is on sale. I don't have $1 gazillion. So I have to choose a couple of things and just say, you know what? I'm gonna ride the wave. And one of the best things that I can suggest to you is educate yourself on a few things, you know, maybe follow a few people that you really, you know, once you verify what they're saying, you're like, yeah, that person has some really great points, and choose just a couple of things to get into. Blockchain can be one of those things for you for very little to no cost. You get educated, you stay a part of BBC, you come to the book club, you pick a major, and you go for it. Because I just don't want people to be scared right now. That's the worst thing to do.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that because we need money or anything like that. I'm saying it because it's the truth. It's the truth. The biggest opportunities are about to come in the next couple of years. And the way to create generational wealth, which is the fourth part of our mission, is to, you know, to get on something and to ride the wave with it. So anybody else have anything else to say? Roz is saying it's a paradigm shift. Troy is asking what's my information. Info at Black Blockchain Consultants. Info at Black Blockchain Consultants is my email. You guys are always welcome to email me. My niece is saying, I always narrow my circle. I do not want to focus on anything else outside of this new ecosystem for Web 3.0. I say pay attention to everything. Pay attention to economics, pay attention to cultural things, political things. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I certainly am not, but pay attention because there's opportunity and there's also landmines with those things. People are scared because they do not educate themselves. We will survive this, absolutely. Anything else?
I'll say this real quickly for everyone that's on the call, on the video chat. One of the ways you really can get engaged with this, and I swear Cherie is not paying me to say this, is to really get involved with BBC. And I say that because you have to really throw yourself in. I mean, I threw myself in with GBA, I'm throwing myself in with BBC. And, you know, just being on a call every week, that's not going to be enough. You really have to get super engaged. calling people, emailing people, doing projects, working on things together. That's how you really get the knowledge and get the experience and get the contacts you need. And next thing you know, you'll be an industry leader. So don't ask what BBC can do for you, ask what you can do for BBC. And I guarantee you it's going to pay dividends in the future.
I agree. It's good.
Yeah, Dr. Keisha would really like your help on helping to create courses,
Okay.
like the crypto economics that's coming up. We're also doing a course later on in the summer about blockchain jobs and getting your LinkedIns together and what kind of information and words and phrases you want to put in so that when those blockchain hiring managers are looking, your profile comes up on LinkedIn. So that's huge if you guys want to participate in that, especially if you're looking for a blockchain job. Do the research and you can use yourself as a guinea pig. Are we good?
Yes, we are.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Khadija, yeah, you're saying I'm a member too. Thanks. Fantastic.
Just don't email me at 4 a.m., please. That's all. I get nervous all the time. I know that's when you're studying, but I am asleep, y'all. I can't
The
be.
blockchain never sleeps. The blockchain never sleeps.
Time does. See, and I love the questions. I do. I answer every single one of them. I got so many this week alone, and I appreciate y'all. I do. Please don't ping me at 3:30 because I read something and I want you to explain it. I can't.
We've been teasing Talisha. We said that we're going to put her time on blockchain gig, and you guys are going to have to start buying them in half-hour blocks or 15-minute
I love y'all.
increments.
Can't be studying in the middle of the night. That's all I'm saying. Call me in the morning. That's all.
All right, everybody. Well, God bless you. I hope you have a great week. And again, look in the, we're going to send it to the BBC Flock group. We will send you that special invitation to participate in something that will be revolutionary for the Black community. That should come out Monday or Tuesday of next week. So check your emails for that, okay? God bless you guys. Be safe. Wash your hands continuously, all of that stuff. And I'll see you next week.
See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.